I'm Jared Smola from DraftSharks.com, hitting you today with two undervalued players to target in your fantasy drafts. First up, Bengals running back Joe Mixon. There are a lot of Mixon haters out there, and if you drafted him last year, I get it. He missed the final 10 games of the season and killed fantasy teams. But Mixon missed just 4 games over his first 3 NFL seasons and is still just 25 years old. So he's not a bigger injury risk than your average running back. And he's already shown us that he can produce as a running back 1, finishing 10th at the position in PPR points in 2018 and 13th in 2019. When Mixon was on the field last year, he was a workhorse. He averaged 19.8 carries and 4.3 targets in his 6 games. Only 2 running backs averaged more carries per game. Only 3 averaged more carries plus targets per game. Those guys, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry, are all top 6 picks in fantasy drafts. Mixon is usually available in the middle or end of round 2. He could actually be in for even more volume this year with Gio Bernard out of the way. Bernard averaged 3.4 targets per game over the last 3 seasons and 3.3 per game over the first 6 games of last year. The Bengals coaching staff has told us multiple times this offseason that Mixon will play a 3-down role this year, so expect him to pick up most of those targets Bernard leaves behind. Mixon projects to be near the top of the league in total touches, and there's a very strong correlation between touches and fantasy production at running back. That makes Mixon a good bet for RB1 numbers, and if the Bengals offense takes a big step forward in Joe Burrow's second season, we could see Mixon push for a top 5 finish. Next up, Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett. His wide receiver 23 ADP just doesn't make sense. Lockett has finished as a top 16 PPR wide receiver in 3 straight seasons now, including an 8th place finish last year. Yes, he was volatile, but wide receiver is inherently a volatile position. And don't discount Lockett's week winning upside. He scored 33 plus PPR points in 3 different games last year. Lockett returns to a very similar situation in 2021 as a clear top 2 option in the passing game alongside DK Metcalf. The one change? Shane Waldron replaces Brian Schottenheimer at OC. Waldron is expected to bring a fast-paced offense to Seattle. That means more plays, more pass attempts, and more targets for Lockett. He's a wide receiver 2 with upside that can often be had in the 5th round of fantasy drafts. For 5 more undervalued players to target in your draft, head on over to DraftSharks.com.